There's a fascinating Medrash Tanchuma in this week's parsha, describing to us in great detail how the luchos that Moshe Rabbeinu received from Hashem broke. When Moshe Rabbeinu originally received them, they were light and very easy to carry, almost like they carried themselves. Which is interesting because they were after all made of stone. But since they carried within it the Michtav Elokim, the divine script of the letters, they were almost weightless. But when these very stones came face to face with the Egel Hazov, the golden calf, the holy letters, the Michtav Elokim flew away. They simply couldn't bear and they couldn't tolerate the Aveira that Klal Yisrael were busy with. And as a result of that, they simply became too heavy for Moshe Rabbeinu to carry, and he dropped them and they broke. Now this episode took place thousands of years ago, and we have to ask ourselves, what's the message for us? What can we gain from that knowledge? Rav Pinchas Roberts tells us that every single one of us, every Yid, is comparable to the luchos. We're also made up of two parts: the physical, the Ofer Min Ha'adama, that comes originally from the ground, and also a neshama, a very spiritual component inside our bodies. The physical body gets nourished by food and drink, but the spiritual soul also requires nourishment. How do we nourish it? How do we sustain it? With Torah and mitzvahs that we do. However, if we neglect to nourish our soul, then our body ultimately becomes very, very heavy to drag along. Just like the luchos, when they lost the Michtav Elokim, the divine script, they just became too heavy for Moshe Rabbeinu. This week, we took the boys in yeshiva down south in order to relive what happened on October 7th. And we went to kibbutz Kerem Shalom. It's actually the closest kibbutz to the Gaza border. And we visited the house of Amichai Schindler, who was in the bomb shelter, the safe room, upon hearing the sounds of the sirens with his wife and children. And at one point, he went outside of the safe room in order to daven mincha. And as he was davening, he heard something unusual. He heard voices speaking Arabic, something highly unusual for the kibbutz. He realized something is wrong. It's not just sirens, there are obviously terrorists. He ran back into the safe room and made sure to hold the handle very tightly. When they broke into the house, they came to the bomb room and they banged on the door, banging, saying, open up, it's the IDF, it's the Israeli army." They were speaking Hebrew. He almost fell for it, but he didn't. Because he had davened outside and he had heard the Arabic, he knew that they were terrorists. It was the davening that saved him and his entire family. We have to realize that we have a body that needs to be fed, that needs to be nourished, that needs to be sustained. But we also have a soul. And when we sustain that soul with Torah, mitzvahs, and chesed, then everything can change about how lightless our body can actually become. Have an amazing Shabbos.